What's up, everybody? Manuel Pedal here. We are live, 10 a.m. go time. I'm gonna wait a little bit to get some people up in here. We're just getting started, 20 seconds in. So I don't know exactly how long this is gonna go, but we're gonna be covering a few different topics today, mainly cycling-related content. I've gotten a lot of questions in previous videos of mine about bicycle touring setups and cycling-related stuff. So ask away. How can I help you? How can I help you all? So drop some comments below. First off, how are you all doing? How are you all doing through all this craziness going on right now? But if you want to talk about that as well, we can. But yeah, drop some of your comments here, your questions here in terms of cycling related stuff. I have a list of things to go over in terms of some questions that some of my subscribers had that I'm going to answer. So I'm going to pick away some of the answers if you feel opposed to them or different when it comes to some of these questions that these guys asked. But I hope you all are doing well. And if some of you are new here to the live feed, like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining. We got 3 in here so far. Thank you all for coming. I know it's early. I hope 10 o'clock is a good time. I was going to start it at 9, but decided to go live at 10. So here in New York City. And yeah, no troop ride today. So we're not going to be doing any group gatherings for a little bit. So that's going to be pending for now. But I'm still out there doing my solo rides, you know? I've been riding solo for a long time anyway. So for me, it's okay, you know? My heart's not going to be broken from that. But I'm here to answer any questions you guys might have. So just there should be a chat box on the screen here. So all you need to do is pretty much ask anything you'd like. I'm actually going to type something in here for you guys. Good morning. Nice. Bicycle Touring Explorer. Thanks for joining in, man, from Carlsbad, California. It must be early over there. So it's 7 a.m. in Cali. Awesome. Thanks for joining, man. Hope the weather's good on your side. You can get a solo ride in or something today. So I'm going to go over some questions that some previous subscribers have asked about cycle touring. As you may know, I've actually got my start with my YouTube channel from doing bicycle touring, you know. So one of my first big trips was my US tour. So a lot of people may have saw a lot of those older videos of mine from back in 2014 when I started my YouTube channel. So I got some questions that have gone unanswered that I'm gonna just plug them in here. And I actually reached out to a lot of those people who asked the questions and responded in the comments, but I also told them that I'm gonna be going live today. So we can build some bigger community around some of the questions and answers that I'm gonna be giving here. So if you guys might feel different about some of my answers, then just drop your reply in the chat box on the right side of your screen so that you know you can combat that. But yeah, so we got one question here about this is about gear ratio. It's I'm thinking about a 1x11 or a 2x11 with Shimano on my Surly long haul trucker touring bicycle, and having some trouble on which one to go with. So for me, I've been a big proponent lately of the 1x11 setup. Good morning, Jeffrey Davis. Good morning. I've been a big proponent of the 1x11 setup on my Ogre, but I have tried 2x11 before on my touring setups for my old long haul trucker. So 2x11 is going to give you a pretty nice range for gearing. You know, you're going to have a lot more to shift in the front derailleur. But nowadays, you know, it's totally different. Like we've grown so much in technology with manufacturing. So you can get a really big chain ring in the rear and run a 1x11. You'll be good. You have a huge range of gears. So for me personally, I mean, I've tried 3. Came from a triple to a double to a single, and now I'm running a 1x11 on my Surly Ogre for bike packing and bike touring. So I use that, and I'm happy with it, man. So I have a 44 in the front, and I have an 11-speed rear cassette. So it goes all the way up to 11 to 44. So that's good enough for me, man. That's all I need. So, I mean, I'm not climbing Mount Everest. So, honestly, like peaks of 11,000 feet is like highest I've ever gone up with my long haul trucker with my Surly. So, I mean, 1x11 with 44 in the front, or even a 42, you can get away with an 11 to 44 cassette in the rear. So, you should be good with that. Guys, again, if you all new here, I got 4 people in here so far. If you're new, just drop a like or drop a say hello, say something up in here if you're in the chat box. I appreciate you all for coming. Much gratitude. Let me know how I can help you. And sipping away on some coffee here. It's early here in New York City, so. But I'm going to jump into my next question here. Okay, so this was from a video of mine that I had when I was doing a commute. It was when my Vittoria GP 4000, my Vittoria Corsa G Plus tire exploded. I was riding to Long Island at the time, and it was early morning, and I was coming off the Queensboro Bridge, and my tire exploded. So someone asked a question in the comments about Continental GP 5000 or the Vittoria G, the Corsa G Plus. Continental GP 5000 versus the Vittoria Corsa G Plus. Personally, I've never tried the Continental GP 5000s. However, I have tried the 4000 series S tire, which is a nice tire. But honestly, that tire exploded before too. So tire is a personal preference. For me, I really, really like the Vittorias, man. They've been doing it for me lately. I run the Vittoria Rubino Graphene 2.0s right now on my bike. And I love these things, man. These things are sweet. This is a tire right here. The Vittoria, I feel like off season, these are great tires to use. But in terms of those two, Continental GP 5000, I heard great things about it. The GP Corsa, the Vittoria Corsa G Plus, I love those tires, man. They're super fast. They stick to the ground like no other tire I've used before, man. Like I've tried a lot of tires in my time too when it comes to cycling, and by far Vittoria dominates. So for me personally, I'm gonna go with Vittoria. I'm actually going to slap a new set of tires on soon. But right now, these are doing it for me. These Rubino Pros, man, they're solid tires. But of those two, I wouldn't mind trying the Continentals. But my problem what I had with them before is that they exploded. And for me, that's a big turnoff. So. Yo, I hear you, Jeffrey. Do your thing, man. It's all good. Do your thing. I got my coffee right here, actually. So morning brew coffee to anyone, whoever doesn't drink coffee. Hope you're enjoying some tea. If not, some water. Stay hydrated, man. Although coffee gets me amped. It's I love it. I love it. Bicycle Touring Explorer 1x11 or 1x10 is almost is like internal hub. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I used to run a 1x10 on my Surly long haul trucker when I did the Kokopelli Trail back in the day. Actually, it wasn't a 1x, it was a 2x10. But 2x10, I mean, it's strong. They're strong setups, man. Like you hit, thing is with the 10 speeds, like, the links on the chains are thicker than 11 speed. So, you get a bit more durability with a 10 speed. Yeah, man. DR Pepper. Yeah, I mean it's personal preference too. I mean, honestly, like these days, 11 speed, and we're up to 12 now. On mountain bikes. So, yeah. So 11 speeds, it's durable. It's durable enough for me. Like if you really, really want to go strong, if you have a problem with like snapping chains, which I don't. Forbid, but yeah, I mean, you can even go 9 speed if you want. That's going to be super durable, but I mean, honestly, your range is going to be limited at that point, though, if you go anything below. below 11. But yeah, let's go into another question here. We can talk about gear ratios all day, man. I love talking about it because I've gone through so many different gear ratios that it's just like pretty awesome. Okay, yeah. So Trek Emonda or Damani. So the bike I'm riding now is a Trek Emonda ALR. I love it. It's a solid bike. I came from a Chinese carbon frame previous to this, which which sucked, man. I mean, it was a great bike, but it sucked that I crashed it a couple times. But you got to understand too, like a carbon frame on impact, your bike's at risk, so you might as well replace it right away. Again, keep in mind, guys, and take this from personal experience. If you crash a carbon frame, buy another carbon frame. Just buy a second one. I have a second backup frame. I crashed my frame doing a group ride and slid out on it, and I inspected it, but it seemed fine. I didn't see any crashes. I looked all over. I looked for cracks. I didn't see anything, but I kept riding it. I put the bike through hell, man. I went bike touring with it. It was a Hung Fu bike. You can check one of my popular videos on it that got a lot of hits, but yeah, man. I mean, I was honest about it. I put it through hell, man. I put a lot of race miles on it, and it's a beast. It was a beast of a bike when I had it, but the Trek Emonda so far is awesome, and I've had it for about 6 months. The difference between the Trek Emonda and the Damani, I mean, the Damani is you got the front suspension, you got that suspension with it, right? So, I mean, that's going to be a better bike for cushion if it's going to be easier on your wrist when you're holding the handlebars, that's for sure. So, that particular bike is more of an endurance style bike. Whereas the Trek Emonda, it's more versatile. You can use it for racing. You can use it for even like touring, honestly, too. I mean, if you'd like to do it's a nice climbing rig, the Emonda. I really like it a lot. So it's all personal preference. I do recommend going to a bike shop and checking out both bikes. Test ride the Damani and test ride the Trek. I've test rode both, and I favor the Trek Emonda. You can either go ALR or you can go full carbon with SLR or SL, your choice. I am, Jeffrey, yeah, I am still riding the 1130, opinion on 1128. Personally, it's shy difference, man, like very marginal differences between the 1130 and 1128. I've been riding the 1128 since I started road cycling. When I had my old S-Works SL4 back in the day when I first got into road cycling, I used to run 11 to 25 in the rear, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But yeah, I switched to gear. I got 1128, and I've been riding that like for years. But I've realized that over time, I mean, I'm a big power pumper, and I noticed that going up climbs, my legs, they can become a little bit fatigued when I used to run 1128. So personally, the 1130 is a little bit better for me. Definitely, I can spin a little bit nicer and a bit more comfortable when I'm in the saddle, going up the Alpine climb locally over here in New York City on my River Road route. I haven't taken the Trek Emonda up any big mountains yet, but I will soon. I plan on taking it up north once everything is said and done here in New York City with the travel. But I'm going to take it to Lake Minnewaska, where I did a big bikepacking trip before, a day trip, and there's some big mountains over there. And I do think the 1130 is going to deliver. It's really marginal differences, I feel, though, man, to be honest. But it definitely is a big step up. It's nice to have that extra gear. So I will say that. So swapping out 1128 to the 30, definitely recommend the 30. And honestly, to be truthful with you, if you can go 32, go 32. Just because, I mean, at the minimum, man, like just go 32. You never know, like you got some friends who want to hit you up and you want to go on a big ride, and you guys are going to the mountains. Like you'll be surprised what that 32 will be able to do. You can sit in, and you're not gonna put too much stress on your legs, man, and it can hurt your joints too, and your knees if your gear is too small. So for safety, definitely would recommend 30-32 in the rear. 28's good if you're like in the flats. If you live in Florida where places are flat, 28 you do just fine. But if you want more range, definitely use the 30 or the 32 in the rear. Jeffrey Davis, same deal. I'm 5'10", 200 pounds, had 32 on. I didn't like the spread. It's on my gravel bike. Nice. Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. So it's through time, you have to figure out what works best for you, For me, I've tested out so many different gears. I've been on the 30 for about a month now. So I'm looking forward to taking it up to the mountains, though. I want to really see how it can deliver compared to my 28. So, and to be honest, the numbers and chain cogs that's on that rear cassette anyway, it's still fine. Like, I still have plenty of the same ranges that are on a 28. The numbers match up. It's just about the same. But it does jump when you get a little higher on that gear from that 30. So, yeah, but definitely having that bigger range is definitely a plus. Okay. Next question. Someone asked me about carbon versus aluminum road bike. So with the carbon, when you're going over bumps, it's gonna be. You're welcome, man. When you're going over bumps on a carbon road bike, it's gonna be much more forgiving than an aluminum rig. That is for sure. I noticed the differences from riding carbon frames in the past. I mean, it's like night and day. It's you really do feel the difference, man. If you have a high-end carbon road bike, it's gonna really make a huge difference. And also a difference in, if you're a road bike with, let's say a carbon wheel set, even like versus an aluminum wheel set. Like if you're coming from like an aluminum wheel set on your carbon bike, if you just bought one off the bike shop, it didn't come with carbon wheels because you bought a lower end model, let's say, and you decided to get some carbon wheels to upgrade your bike. You're gonna notice right out the gate, man, how fast that bike's gonna deliver. It's gonna just like. Whew. I remember I put carbon wheels on my bike for the first time ever, and it just went, man. But carbon and versus my aluminum Trek here, I've never ridden an aluminum road bike before besides this one here, so I can't say from experience like how one would feel if it weren't my Trekking Monda ALR. But I do know for a fact that this particular bike, my Monda ALR versus my previous carbon road bike, honestly, this is way more comfortable, man. Like, first off, I don't know, it could be frame geometry, and I think it is because this is an H2 fit. Trekking Monda has H1 and H2. H2 is going to give you a bigger head tube, and H1 is going to give you a smaller, more aggressive style head tube. And that's going to put you in a more aggressive position, more a race position. So the H2 fits nice. My old previous carbon road bike was a much more aggressive race frame. And so that one was definitely, I was much more far forward and on the bike. I was much more in an aggressive position. So definitely recommend if you're going to go trek, read into the H1, H2 fits. But in terms of carbon versus aluminum, aluminum is much more stiffer on the road. You're going to know that for sure. Carbon's going to flex a bit better. You're going to get a bit more forgiving on when you're going over bumps and stuff like that and vibrations on the road. So again, too, when you pair that up, you pair an aluminum frame with carbon road wheels and also some nice bars or whatever. Like my bike has carbon bars, I have carbon wheels, and I have a carbon seat post. And those things alone like make up a huge difference, So in terms of carbon and road, to be honest, I mean, I would love to get another carbon frame. In fact, my next bike will be another carbon frame. But right now, I'm okay with aluminum. I have nothing against my aluminum Trekking Monda at all. It's holding up very well. So again, personal preference. If you have the money, carbon, definitely go for a carbon frame for sure. If you don't care and you want to save some, then definitely aluminum is a much more viable option to save some cash and still be able to get in a great ride, I grew up in the Pocono Mountains in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania in the 1985 and 1995. My road bicycle had 5242 cranks and for you 1119. Ooh, nice. How'd that work out for you, man? With that, where'd you ride out there? I'm curious. PA. I know PA's got some big hills and stuff like that, especially in the Dutch country area. It's got some big hills out there. Homage, the pilgrimage, and all that. You know, I've ridden through there before, and definitely some big hills out in PA, and some nice mountains too. Out of the Poconos, you can ride too. But if you're going like more western Pennsylvania, then you'll see a lot bigger hills too. So let's see here. Power meter. So I just got a power meter for my road bike. Guys, whoever is joining, thanks for joining in. Appreciate it. Like the live feed here. And let me know how I can help you too. Let me know how I can help you. Drop a question and I'll answer it. Nice. I've never been over that way. I'd love to go by PA though. You should get a ride in soon, man. I don't drive, but let's get a route going. I'm definitely down to ride, you know. I'm always down to ride, so you guys already know that. I got a question here from a subscriber about power meter. Power meter 150 watts is good. Okay, yeah. So power meter pace FTP. Do you know your full FTP power output? I don't. Full threshold power. I don't know. Honestly, in order to measure your threshold power, your FTP, you got to go hard with a power meter for like 20 minutes straight. I think it's great if you're in a crit race. You can definitely measure your FTP. But me, I'm just doing like base miles pretty much. And I don't go too hard unless I'm doing like a training ride video, or if I'm doing like a big training ride leading into a race. And right now, I'm not racing. Unfortunately, I was planning on racing this year, but they shut down. The USA Cycling shut down all the races, so there's no racing going down in the nationwide right now. Unfortunately, man. So until we get past this current situation in our society, but yeah, I mean, if you want to measure FTP, all you got, pretty much just ride hard as hell, man, for 20 minutes, and pretty much just measure that FTP, that output from your highest power output. I think you have to like do some math, like multiply that by like 0.95 or something like that, and then you got it's a full equation on it, and then you'd be able to determine your full FTP output. But for me personally, with my rides that I'm doing now, I'm not measuring that data right now with FTP power. If and when the crit races start back up, because I would love to jump into a crit race, man. Like, was really looking forward to the Grant's Tomb here in New York City, which is an iconic race in New York City, right on the Upper West Side by the Grant's Tomb Memorial. And that's usually the start of the season. But I'm really looking forward to that race. Hopefully it's supposed to start in June. So, hopefully we can get this jumping back into gear. But I'll definitely do a video on that. And in fact, I'll even try and do a video in the park here, Central Park, with the FTP power and how I can measure it. I'll just go super hard for 20 minutes on a straightaway or something like that, and I'll give you guys some data if you're interested in that. I'll put the gauges up and do a video around that. That'll be a good training video. If you're new to the live feed, thanks for joining. It's my first time doing live on my YouTube channel. I'm pretty psyched. So drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know how I can help you guys. Subscribe to my channel as well. Banging out the vids for a good time now. I hope I'm offering you guys some value. Just let me know how I can help. And I hope you all are well. I hope you all still staying on your bike. Hashtag ride for health, man. Ride for health, and keep pedaling over everything out there, and just stay safe. Whether it's riding by yourself or riding with a group indoor. The Zwift is popular right now. I don't have a Zwift. I would love to get one. I do need a bigger spot. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm just kicking it low key, and been going outside doing my rides for the most part. And personally, I like riding outdoors rather than doing Zwift. Although, like, if I had one, I would enjoy it, and I honestly would be banging out with Zwift videos. So Zwift, if you're watching this video, I would definitely hook it up with you guys and do some videos and stuff like that to offer some value to some of my subscribers, doing more indoor training stuff. So, in fact, I feel like if I had this Zwift, you guys can virtually come with me on my troop ride up to River Road, because then we can all ride together. All right, let's jump into some questions here. Justin, oh, okay, nice. That's cool, man. Lamont, he's from Long Island, I believe. Actually, Greg Lamont. Greg Lamont, man. Yeah, he's originally I think he's from Long Island, and that's cool. I think that's really awesome, though, man. I can see him up there too because there's some big mountains out there in Pennsylvania, so that's cool, man. That's really cool. I never met a pro rider before. I never met a pro rider, man. I know in Australia though, people that's like training haven for pro riders, man. Before pro tour starts up, they're always up in like Adelaide, Australia, and the Gold Coast, man. They're like because it's beautiful over there, and they got really good climate for cycling. So a lot of pro cyclists go out there to train. So yeah, that's cool, man. I would love to meet a pro rider one day. I don't know what I'd say, but or at least ride with them. I think that'd be pretty cool. All right, so I'm gonna jump into the next one here. Do you do base miles in training? Yes, I do. I do a lot of base miles. I mean, right now I'm not training for anything, but I do train. Well, actually, yeah, I am. I train for life. I train for life pretty much because you never know what's gonna throw at you. But my training, the majority of it is hitting up the big. I like climbing, so for me, I go to my base training is all about going to River Road and hitting up big hills, and going up to the mountains and stuff like that. If I can ever get a chance to go up north to the Catskills or Lake Minnewaska, which is a route that's a little closer than the Catskills, so I'll do that on my touring bikes. But when it comes to road, man, like locally at least from the house here, training. So yeah, I mean, I'm not training for anything specific right now besides just for myself. But when I used to race a couple of years ago, I did lots of training, man. I would literally drive all the way up to the Catskills, park my car, and get a bunch of miles in. So for me, I think it's important to always stay well trained on the bike. I think honestly, commuting too is training, so you can literally ride yourself into race fit, if you just stay on your bike. If you commute throughout the entire 365 days of the year, let alone snow, like if there's snow, like, yeah, you might have to hang the bike up. But if you can like continue to ride, like that's base miles right there. And you can jump into a race and you'll be ready to race, like no problem. If you haven't been on the bike for 6 months and then you jump into a race and like try to hold the front, like you're going to get dropped, so definitely keep that in mind. Nice. Nice. Yeah, there's a tour coming up. There's supposed to be a big one coming up here in New York City. Nice. That's cool, man. That's awesome. I remember I went to the truck store in San Diego when I was out there visiting, and it was dope. I didn't see they had a big fondo going on. I literally rode into the fondos. Had this crazy story where I was out visiting the city because I always wanted to go to San Diego. Like I really wanted to relocate there too because I just want to be in a place where there's like mountains and beaches, pretty much, that supports my cycling and lifestyle, And I really became drawn to like the ocean recently, so I really wanted to like find a location where I'm able to do that, and be in those places where I can support the lifestyle that I want to lead, right? So I was out riding. I brought my bike to San Diego, and yeah, I went for a ride, and I got a flat tire. I fixed it, and then I put the bike back on the road. I was riding back to the spot where I was staying in the gas lamp, and then I caught like a second flat, and surprisingly, I caught it right near the Trek store. And I rolled into the Trek store. I wheeled my bike in on my cleats. I walked in, and they had a full fondo going on. And I was like, I had no idea this was going on. I was talking to the Trek guy, the sales clerk, and he was like, yeah, man, there's a fondo going on right now. Are you riding it? I'm like, no, I'm actually visiting. So I was chopping it up with the Trek sales clerk for a bit about that. But yeah, man, I mean, Trek's a dope, man. I love the Trek store. I mean, it's everything Trek, and Trek's been crushing it this year too with their technology and everything. the debate is like Specialized being the best, right? Specialized has great marketing. Specialized has great marketing, but and their technology, their frames are amazing too. Like I mean, I used to ride a Tarmac SLL4, and they're great. They're great bikes. But I do like Trek. I think Trek, their frame, they've come a long way, and I really like the Monda. So, okay. All right, here goes another question here. Okay, Shimano versus SRAM for shifting. All right, yeah. So I tried SRAM once. I never like religiously rode SRAM like I do Shimano. And I think it's all personal preference. This comes down to personal preference again. And for me, I used to ride SRAM on my old S-Works, SLL4 when I had it. It was a SRAM Red group. And currently I'm riding Shimano right now. And for me, it's personal preference. So here's the deal. All right. So first off, Shimano, the whole lever shifts. Whereas the SRAM levers, they don't shift, they click. So it depends on how you want it to feel. Ergonomically, I like the way Shimano feels, and so I guess I can compare it like this. So if you take like an old film camera, and you like have an old Leica M9 or M6, old Leica M6, you have the lever that you have to wind the film in order to move the film over and advance the film to a blank frame. Same thing with the Shimano shifter, man. Like you have to shift that gear with your hand in order to shift the gear to get to your proper gear. And for me, that's what I like the most. I appreciate that. I feel like I like to work with my hands and I like the way it feels. I like to just know that I can control the bike, With the SRAM is great. I know it's a little lighter, I've heard, than the Shimano. But to be honest, like I actually raced with a SRAM that was a bike loan for me from a friend of mine named Sean when I was riding on the brand's race team for a year or so. And my bike, this is when my carbon road frame had cracked. And he loaned me his bike so we can race together, because I wouldn't be able to race if it weren't for that bike. And he had a whole SRAM group set. And I was like, damn, I got to get a couple miles in before I could race because I was new to the whole SRAM. So I rode it and it's cool. I like SRAM. I do like it. It was a bit of a learning curve coming from a Shimano group set. But to be honest, like I ride right now a Ultegra R8000 group set and I love it. I mean, I love it. And if you want to talk more about like electronic shifting versus mechanical, we can do that too. That was my last question from this guy here on that. It was about the SRAM versus Shimano shifting. And if you talk about like compare them to like a film camera, if you prefer like winding that lever yourself to advance to a new frame, then you can do that and it feels nice. Like if you want to be more purist about it, like before electronic came about. But if you like SRAM, that click to shift, then that's cool too. Go with that. It's more like digital, you press a button and then boom, you got your shot versus like winding that film lever to advance that gear yourself, So ergonomically, it's all about how you want to control the bike. But I do know for a fact, like when we talk about like electronic shifting versus mechanical gear shifting, it all depends too. Like if you prefer like, look, my bike's really well tuned, so like I make sure my bike is always dialed in. And I recommend all you cyclists too out there to make sure your bikes are always dialed in. I really hate when I hear like a chain that's squeaking and gears that are crackling when they're about to shift, like take care of your bike. You know what I mean? If you're a cyclist, guys, just it's easy to lube the chain. You know what I'm saying? Like I made a video on this, man. You can literally use home remedies. Like if you have olive oil in your kitchen cabinet, you can lube your chain with olive oil. There's no reason if you're wearing like $400 shoes and a $150 helmet with a $300 kit and your chain squeaking on your road bike in the park. Come on, bro. Put some olive oil on your chain, like for real. because that just annoys me, man. Just like, come on, dude. But anyway, my bike's super dialed in when it comes to, like, my whole bike's mechanical, and it's super lightweight too. Um, so yeah, I mean, electronic shifting is awesome. I've tried it out before. And my next bike, whenever I do get a new road bike, which I was looking at that Trek, was it the Madone? I really like that bike, man. I really want to build a project series bike. What is it called? Project One or something like that? Project Three, I forgot. But the whole Trek project, you can do custom builds, you can customize the paint and everything. I really want to do that. My thoughts on disc brakes versus V brakes for bike touring. Man, I've ridden both, surprisingly, right? So my thoughts on disc brakes versus V brakes. So disc brakes are awesome. So there's different kinds. There's hydraulic disc brakes, and then there's also like mechanical disc brakes. And then you got V brakes. On the Kokopelli Trail, I rode V brakes, and I didn't have any trouble with it. I was on that trail for 5 days, and it was like full remote. So I had to make sure I had everything. I brought extra brake pads with me, and I had extra cables and stuff. And the V brakes are great. And honestly, like when it comes to modulation, meaning like the pressure when you pull that lever that it gives to the wheel to stop the bike, they're very, very much the same. So it really all depends, like what you want. You got mechanical disc brakes too. Like I run TRP mechanical disc brakes, and they're great. I don't run hydraulic disc brakes at all. Personally, you're gonna need fluid and pressure to give full maintenance to that. So if you're doing like a big bike packing or bike touring trip, and you want to do like let's say hydraulic brakes, just know that if your brake fails, you got to go to a bike shop if you don't have the right tools. But if because you have to get the actual hydraulic system to make it actually, you have to pump air into it to get it back up to speed. But with a mechanical disc brake, it's just a cable. So look, if you're looking at like mechanical disc brakes or any kind of disc brake doing bike touring, consider the TRPs. Check out the website, and I recommend the TRP Spire. Those are great, great brakes, man. I mean, I would not give you false information. Like those brakes are amazing. They're really good, and what's great about them, it's a pull cable, it's a disc brake, and they have dual modulation, meaning the brake itself pulls on both sides. A lot of disc brakes don't do that. They'll pull on just like one. This pulls on both sides of that rotor, so you'll get better stopping power, and it runs with the cable. So if your brake fails, your cable snaps when you pull the lever, just swap the cable and feed it right through the housing, and then boom, you're back on the road in no time. It's better in remote areas too, if you have a mechanical cable brake. But V brakes also great. I like V brake. I've been using V brake for years. Before I shifted into a full disc road setup with bike touring and everything. But will I go back to V brake? No, personally, I think disc is the way to go. But if you're gonna go disc mechanical for sure for bike touring and bike packing. If your frame has, if you have a frame that takes disc brakes, just get the mechanicals. Look at the TRPs; they make some of the best equipment for disc brakes in the world, in my favor. So check that out. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, out the box, I don't have new pads for the Spires. I just have like the regular ones that came with it stock. Yeah, you're right. Just I'm glad you agree. And yeah, full mechanical is the way to go with disc brakes. You can do hydraulic if you want, but personally, like hands down, man, hydraulic. I wouldn't really do it. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're doing like single track. If you're doing single track, and you want to just do that. If you have a Trek top fuel, you're trying to smash out like races and stuff like that. Hydraulic does feel nice. Definitely does feel nice. It's like riding a sports car. You know, but definitely recommend mechanical. Nice. Yeah. I mean, I used to run V brakes on my Sir Logo trucker too. I don't know if you checked out my bike packing review on my website, Bike Tours by Manual Pedal. But I have on the blog, you'll see one of my old bikes. It's the reviews on my Surly Ogre that I currently rode, but that I currently ride. But if you look further down in that review, I have my other bike, my Surly Long Haul Trucker, which is my tried and true bike. I took that bike everywhere, man. I mean, I still have the frame set, although it's cracked. I still have the frame set, and I'll never get rid of it, because it's what really made the manual pedal. So it's really sentimental to me. But outside of that, I mean, I rode a V brake in the rear with that bike, and I had a disc brake in the front. Because what you can do with the Surly Long Haul Trucker, I don't want to tell you this. This is for Bicycle Touring Explorer. If you have the Surly Long Haul Trucker, if you want to run a disc brake, it might be like kind of ghetto rigged, right? But if you have V brakes on it, if you want to run a disc brake to try out, get a disc fork, a Surly Long Haul with disc fork. It's the same fork as the regular fork if you don't have a disc frame Surly Long Haul Trucker, and just run that in the front. And you have a disc brake in the front and a V brake in the rear. And I was doing that for a long time. But when I was on a bikepacking trip with my Surly Long Haul Trucker in Colombia years ago, back in 2017, when I was going up those mountains out there, those mountains were so steep and they were huge descents. And the V brakes, they didn't do it for me, man, when I was out there. And that's remote country. And for me, like the disc brakes out there in that terrain, it was bad because it was so dry and dusty, and my bike wasn't stopping the way I wanted it to. My friend George that I was with, he had a full disc brake frame, and he was running hydraulics. He was able to like bomb those descents, and I'd be like literally like 10 minutes behind him coming down super slow because my disc brakes, my V brakes weren't delivering enough power to my wheels as his disc brakes were. So keep that in mind too on descents. Like if you're bike packing and touring, you shouldn't be going too fast anyway. You want to enjoy the scenery. But if you do decide to take a descent fast, you just know with disc brakes, like you'll be able to do that, without like any trouble or whatever. And my V brakes when I was on the long haul trucker out there was like squealing, and it was loud, very loud, because it was like very dirty and stuff, from all the dirt. It was an off-road trip. So yeah, I mean, again, personal preference, nothing wrong with V brakes at all, but I wouldn't go back to them because I have the disc Ogre now for my Surly, and I love it, man. It's great. Yeah, cool. That's awesome, guys. Let me see if I have any other questions here. All right, sweet. Yeah, so that's wrapped up with the questions for the live feed. Props to everyone who signed in for this. I'll look into doing another one. I wish I had a bit more lighting over here, but it's all good. I'm on my laptop here. But yeah, I hope you guys, if you have any other questions, let me know. I'll be in here for a few more minutes before I end the live feed for today. I'm glad that you guys were able to tune in. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram story posts where I said I was going live. This is kind of like a last minute thing because I decided to do it yesterday. And I was like, yeah, let me just do a live feed. I think it'd be cool. A lot of people are at home because of the current conditions that we're in right now. And yeah, I wanted to go live and share some knowledge and also chat with you guys, make sure everyone was all right. Show some love. I'm here for you guys if you need me for any questions or anything. Just let me know how I can help. I have an Avid single digit. Okay. Yes, so the bike says. Okay, yeah. So there you go, man. There you go. So yeah, if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. I mean, I think it's an upgrade for sure. Disc brakes are an upgrade to the Surly Long Haul Trucker, that's for sure. And I've seen a lot of posts in forums and stuff like that about V brake versus like disc brake trucker, and yeah, disc brake's definitely the way to go. First off, I love the Surly Long Haul Trucker, man. It's such a great bike. You can go anywhere with that bike, man. It's awesome. Thanks for joining the feed, Alva B. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hosting. All right. Yeah. Thank you, my man, for joining. San Diego's in the house. San Diego in the house. Yo, man, enjoy that vitamin D, man. It's a little foggy and rainy out here in New York, but hoping to get another ride in soon. The next couple of days is going to be raining and cloudy. So thanks for joining in, man. Appreciate it. Stay safe out there, brother. Oh boy, stimulus package 1,200. What to do with it? What to do with the stimulus package? I mean, personally, that's a decision that you got to ultimately decide on your own. But yeah, man, I mean, a good place to put that is probably like food and shelter, you know, or do whatever you want. Do whatever you want to do with it, you know. Do whatever you want to do with it. It's your choice, you know, for sure. It's your choice ultimately. You know, there's a lot of fear going on around with this whole the coronavirus thing, you know. But yeah, just keep in mind, man. You know, a lot of it's a real thing, and I don't want to sound insensitive or anything either, because you know it is definitely a real issue for sure. You know, and you know it's a lot of fear behind it, and just make sure whatever you're tuned into, which is predominantly the news, you got to understand too that like understand fear, like false evidence appearing real, you know, and just know that the news media hypes everything up from like 100% to 1,000%, you know. So just make sure you know where you're getting your information from. 13 the disc, nice. Yeah, man, I built my custom Mavics that I have, my 32 spoke wheels. I love them. They're awesome. I built them on XT hubs. They're disc. And I want to get a gravel bike one day. I mean, I need a few bikes in my arsenal still. I want to get a gravel bike. I know I have a Ogre, but I want to get like something that's a little faster, because I'm riding 27.5 right now on the Ogre. I'm not changing that setup at all. I love 27.5. But I do want to get a gravel bike that's a bit more agile, and that could handle situations a little differently, where it's almost like a road bike, but also able to tackle like technical terrain. So I was looking at the Surly, which one was it? Not the Bridge Club. There's another one that's like a gravel inspired bike, but it's a beautiful bike. It's nice, and it's kind of like a road mix with a bike touring rig. So I'm definitely one day we'll look into building another bike. But right now I have two bikes. Honestly, the more bikes, the worse, because it means more money you got to put out. And to be honest with you, it's like you're better off just having, if you can have one bike, just stick with one bike. You know, it does it all. But if you need two, if you're like me, you do road cycling and you do bike touring and bike packing, then you need two. And my bike right now, my pride and joy is my Trek Monde ALR for keeping fit and getting out there on road rides. And then my other bike, which is my bike touring rig, is great for exploring. And it's my Sturdy Ogre. And I wouldn't trade those two bikes for nothing. So I love those two bikes. Yeah, man. But hey, guys, I think we're going to end the live feed here. Let me know if you have any other questions or anything. And I'll probably do another one later down the line. I hope you enjoyed this live feed. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, guys, subscribe to the channel. Leave a like here. Leave a dislike if you don't like it. But leave a like if you do. And I'll see you guys next time. Definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Get some rides in. Stay healthy out there. Hashtag pedal over everything and tag me on Instagram at Manual Pedal Pics. And I'll feature your post on my feed on there and everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Nicholas. You got it, man. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm going to be heading out here. We're just a little under an hour. So I'll see you guys next time. Keep checking out the videos on me riding and everything. I'm going to be doing some more training videos. And just stay tuned, man. Stay tuned. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. And this.